So, hi everyone, good morning and good evening. So, let me introduce myself. So, this is Chamu. I have around 12 years experience in IT. Out of 12 years, 9 years experience in AEM, sites and assets and forms implementation. So, I'm working as a full-time corporate trainer and I have delivered multiple trainings for top MNCs like Deloitte and PwC and EY and Virtusa. So, almost all the MNCs have delivered the trainings on AEM sites and assets and forms. And today's demo sessions, I'm going to cover first, I will start with prerequisites to start learning these AEM forms. And then I will explain course TOC and then some of the features of AEM forms. So if you are completely new to the AEM form, so these are the prerequisites to start learning AEM forms. So you must have basic knowledge on web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, CSS is optional. Even without having knowledge on HTML and CSS, we can learn AEM form, but JavaScript is mandatory because in the AEM form, we'll implement some of the form fields. So these form fields required validations. By default, AEM forms rule editor provides some of the validation features, but sometimes we have to write our own customized rules by using JavaScript. So here JavaScript is mandatory. So without JavaScript, we can't implement customized rules for the forms. So JavaScript is mandatory and HTML and CSS is optional. If you have knowledge on HTML and CSS, that will be great. Because for every project, there will be a front-end team. They will provide the required HTML and CSS. So we don't need to worry about this implementation. But this JavaScript, yes, we have to implement to write some of the custom validation in the forms. And you must have knowledge in AEM as well. Because AEM Forms is one of the module in AEM. There is multiple modules are available in AEM. Sites is one of the module to implement the web pages. And assets is one of the module to manage the assets like images, documents, and videos. And similarly, Forms also one of the module. It will be useful to create and manage the forms, either HTML forms or PDF forms or adaptive forms. So without having knowledge on AEM, you can't learn AEM forms. And basic programming knowledge is required in Java and XML and JSON. Java is mandatory because we have to write entire the backend implementation, including integration by using Java only. And XML and JSON is required to create the forms. As a form developer, sometimes we have to create forms by using XML and JSON. So there is many ways to create AEM forms in AEM forms. One of the way is by using templates and data model. And second way is by using XML schemas and JSON schemas also we can create the forms. So you must have at least basic knowledge on XML side and JSON side. At least basic knowledge required in XML and JSON. And Java means core Java knowledge is required. Advanced Java or other frameworks are not required. At least basic knowledge and core Java is mandatory. So in overall, JavaScript is required, Java is required, and basic knowledge and XML and JSON is required, and AEM knowledge also required. So these are the required technology to start learning AEM forms. So course TOC wise, today is the first session. So as part of the first session, I will cover what is AEM forms and what are the key features of AEM forms and how to use these AEM forms and who is using AEM forms and what are the different competitors of the AEM form. So this part we're going to discuss as part of this introduction. The next session is AEM forms local setup and project creation. For every project, we have to create one Maven project. It is similar to AEM sites project creation. Similarly, we have to create one AEM Forms Maven project for the local deployment and development purpose. I will show you how to create AEM Forms Maven project and how to deploy that project into AEM servers and what are the different extensions are required to set up the forms. Even for AEM form, AEM server is required. And in addition to the AEM Forms, we have to install one service pack and one AEM Forms extension. I will provide both service pack as well as AEM extension, AEM Forms extension. So I'm going to upload that two extensions to the Google Drive, and I will share that Google Drive link with everyone. And Forms template. Third session is on Forms template. So it is similar to our editable templates in AEM sites. It is similar to AEM sites editable template, but in addition to that, we required some of the customization to create the forms by using the editable templates and themes. And this is the console walkthrough. So there are different consoles are available for models and schemas. I'll walk through the different consoles and how to use those consoles as part of the forms. And themes also one of the feature in AEM Forms. It will be useful to build forms with the different themes. So I'm going to cover as part of 5. And form fragment is similar to experience fragments in AEM. So in AEM, experience fragment is a small part of the web page, right? Similarly, here form fragment also a small part of the form. If there is any reusable fields, we can create simple fragment and we can reuse the same fragment in different forms. For the reusability purpose, we can generate this form fragment and reuse the same form fragment in different forms. And this is the most important one as a form developer. So we should know how to use this rule editor and how to customize this rule editor. Rule editor. So once you create any field, sometimes we have to write some customized validation, and those validations I'll show you how to write by using rule editor, and I'll show you how to use existing rules to add the conditions into the fields. Once you build the form, when the end user submit the data, that data we need to store into the either third-party services or within the AEM server. But within the AEM server is not recommended. Majority of the cases, we will store this data into the external system, either databases or REST services or web services, or there is some of the blob storages, right? Azure blob storage or Amazon S3 storages. So we have to store this information in the form of the document or in the form of the tabular format into the external systems. So I will cover how to submit the data into the external system, and I don't cover how to store that into AEM because that is not recommended. So as part of 8, I will show you how to post the data from AEM server to third-party services. It is similar. So both are related. Day 8 and day 9 both are related. This is the internal database connection, how to create database and how to create the tables and how to connect the database with the AEM server and how to store the data from AEM server to database. So there are some predefined schemas and data sources are available. And by using these data sources, you can simply store the form data into the databases. I will show you as part of day 9. And data model. So 8, 9, and 10 both are related. All three are related. Or three are related. Three are related to create the form and to store that forms by using schemas and data sources into the databases. So once you are aware of how to create the forms by using these templates, then I will show you how to create the forms by using XML schema and JSON schema. So it is similar to the template creation, template form creation, but this is one of the shortcut to create the forms by using XML schema and JSON schema. And these workflows are very powerful. It required for majority of the application. It will be useful to process the data or automate some of the tasks. Example, approval process or data processing, or to automate some of the tasks we can done by using these workflows. And I will cover some of the integrations like email integration and some REST-based integration and Azure integration to submit the data into the external systems. And as part of day 15, so, I'll cover some of the JavaScript API. So there is a JavaScript framework required for AEM Forms. I will cover this framework as well as this backend Java API to customize the code or to write some of the services by using OSGI. And DocuSign is one of the feature. It will be useful to add the digital signature in your forms, either PDF forms or HTML forms or adaptive forms. Based on the requirement, we have to include the digital signatures. So those digital signatures we can integrate by using Adobe Sign. And one of the powerful feature in AEM Forms is Forms Designer. So this Forms Designer will be useful to generate offline PDF documents. So these PDF documents will be useful to collect the data, and whenever the user is connected with the internet, it will post the data to the required services. So all the offline PDF document or PDF HTML forms we can generate by using this Forms Designer. It may take 2 to 3 hours. I will cover end-to-end implementation of this Forms Designer. Forms Designer also called Lifecycle Designer. So both are same. Forms Designer is the new name and Lifecycle is the old name. And document of record. So once you submit that form as an end user, so you will have an option to save the data in the document. Of course, when you click on Control P, save as PDF, it will save the entire HTML markup or HTML page as a PDF format. But based on our requirement, we can customize that format and generate the PDF document by using the DOR, document of record. And this is a regular practice, performance and optimizations, and deployment and maintenance. Total 19 concept, but it may take 20 to 25 hours. Maybe it will extend based on the participants' requirement. Sometimes if the participants ask for the new concept or additional concept, will extend the training session as well. So this entire implementation, we are going to implement with AEM 6.5 with Service Pack 20. Service Pack 20. AEM 6.5 with Service Pack 20. And then we'll provide one Forms module. We have to install this Forms module as well to add some of the default features of the forms. Yes, that is the JavaScript. Yeah, I will cover. The reason to not use these cloud services, some of the features are not available in AIM as a cloud services. So that's why still I'm preparing AIM 6.5 with Service Pack 20. It's a sites training. So I always give the trainings on AIM as a cloud services. For the forms, 6.5 with the Service Pack is more recommended for the local practice. Because if you use AIM as a cloud services, we can't connect with the local databases. So we should always connect with the external sources like Azure blob storage or any external REST or web services. So that is one of the limitations. Similarly, there is multiple limitation. So that's why for the local practice purpose, I'm recommended to use AIM 6.5 with Service Pack 20. I will provide both AIM 6.5 with Service Pack 20, including the license. And this is about TOC, table of the content. So that depends on the participant. The training session will go 20 or 25, sometimes more than 25 also. So please let me know if you have any questions in TOC or in prerequisites. Any questions? AEM backend for the integrations. Integration purpose, we have to use this AEM backend OSG services and some of the Forms API. Forms API will write by using JavaScript. The training will be 1 hour per day. So that in weekdays only, not in weekend, Monday to Friday. But time is not yet decided, either 7:30 or 8. 7:30 or 8, or it will be 8:30 to 8:30 or 9 a.m. IST. And today we have started the session at 8 a.m. right? So based on the participant requirement, we'll move the session either 7:30 or 8 a.m. IST.
Hey, hi, Chamu. Thanks for the introduction, Abhilash here.
Hi,
Just wanted to ask, in forms, many of the times we have a requirements for custom components, right? So like
yeah.
different styles, radio buttons, where it shows different drop downs. Like this, anything is covered as part of
Yeah, the
customization.
custom component implementation is mandatory in this training. So we can't always use this Forms core component. Similar to sites, even Forms also providing core component. By using that core component, we can build a form. But yes, definitely we are going to create the custom component either by extending core form component or customized components, including backend.
Okay.
Any other questions? Timings. Okay, I think we're good. So the form is one of the module in AEM. So I will try to cover almost all the integrations. So there is multiple integration I'm going to cover in the slides, including analytics integration, target integrations, and campaign integration. So as part of the analytics integrations, I will cover the data layer, how to implement the data layer and how to track it. Okay, so forms is one of the module in AEM. But in recent time that is not part of the AEM. We have to add one of the content package. So you can download from the software distribution from Adobe site if you have the login. Otherwise, I will provide a content package. Once you install 6.5 with the service pack 20, and we have to install that AEM Forms content package as well. So it will be useful to implement forms, and it will be useful to save that forms in the form of the documents as well, like the PDF forms or HTML form or adaptive form. And the main intention to use these forms to create and manage the form to collect the user information. Adobe Analytics is completely different product. So I can't cover end-to-end implementation of this Adobe Analytics, but I will show you how to integrate Adobe Analytics with AEM Forms. So again, analytics will take 20 to 25 hours. So it is not possible to cover as part of this forms training. And who is using these forms? And what is the purpose of these forms? I would say the market share of these forms is less than 10%. Less than 10% only, because there is some disadvantage with this Adobe product, because all the products are enterprise products and cost also very high. So that's why only limited people will use. But still there is a huge demand in the market. The companies like Techum trying to hire the AEM farm resources since 2 years. Even they are giving complete remote option also, but still they are not able to fulfill all the AEM farms resources. The reason, there is very less number of resources are available in the market. So there is a huge number of sites developers are available, but farm developers are not available. But we can easily convert the sites developer like AEM farm sites AEM sites developer into farm developer if they are interested. But some of the companies who are using these farms are finance companies, banking companies, or insurance companies are main customers of these AEM farms, because they mainly deal with the customers. So they have to collect the data from the customer, and based on that data, they have to automate some of the tasks. For example, there is a loan approval form. Once the end user enter their form and click on submit, without any manual interaction, so they will build some logic to identify whether the user is eligible for that loan or not. And based on that, they will generate some of the documents. Even the documents also we can generate with the form once the user is submitted. When the user is submitted, the backend system will collect the data, and based on that data, so it will generate one document by injecting that data into that document and triggers email to the end user if he is available, he is eligible for the loan. If he is not eligible, still we can trigger the email to inform to the end user. So the entire process is automated by using these forms. The mainly forms we can integrate with this campaign management platforms or CRM platforms or ERP platform for the customer communication purpose. Example, let's say if you want to trigger the email based on some scenarios, we can integrate AEM Forms with Campaign. Campaign also one of the product from Adobe. So we can easily integrate Forms with Campaign because Adobe provides some of the default plugins in the cloud services to connect Forms with Campaign. And we can easily push the data to the Campaign to trigger the emails. But some of the customers or finance companies like banking companies or insurance companies are using this form to collect the data from the end users for account opening purpose or account update purpose or loan application. These are some of the examples, simple examples, I would say, simple example used by the finance companies. Almost 50% of the people who are using forms are finance companies only. And the second largest customer for the forms is government and public sector companies. The best example, mca.gov.in. So that is central government website. So they are using their website to create the companies, like the software companies or registered the companies, or to maintain the directory information or financial information in their website. There are huge number of documents are required. There are huge number of forms also required. Those entire forms are implemented by using this AEM Forms module only, including forms government, public sector companies are using for the tax filing, government uh, websites are using for the tax filing and license renewals, or some government benefits related applications also they are collecting data from the forms. And healthcare and HRM is very less. Only few companies, means multinational healthcare companies are using this form to collect the patient information or prescription or consent form to get the feedback or complaints. They're using these forms. Even some of the companies are using for HRM, human resource management purpose, but that is very less. The majority of the people who are using forms are from the finance services only. So these three are the major sectors who are using these AEM forms. And these are the some of the competitors of the AEM form, but these features are completely different to compare with the AEM form. DocuSign is one of the popular services who are using for agreements and onboarding processes. So they are also providing some of the forms, and they are providing some of the services to automate to create automatically documents and Farm Stock and Cofox and IBM Farms and Nintex and Jart Farm. They are the competitors of the AEM Farms. So in the next slide, we are going to discuss about the AEM features. The first feature is adaptive forms. So these adaptive forms are the responsive forms. Once you implement these forms, we can integrate or we can use by using any devices, at the mobile devices or tabs or desktops or laptops, we can use any devices. So these forms are the responsive forms, and based on the sizes of the screen, we'll adjust the design. And we can easily create these adaptive forms by drag and dropping the component, because Adobe providing default form component, we can utilize this form core component to drag and drop the forms into the page and to build the complete end-to-end page. Even Adobe providing form rule editor to add some of the validation rules by default. If required, we can use same rule editor for the customizations as well. Even it will allow to personalize form fields. It will allow to personalize the form fields. Sometimes we have to generate the form field based on the age or based on the country and based on the region and based on the situation. We have to generate the form fields. This is completely personalized data, personalized fields. So this personalization is also possible with AEM Forms, adaptive forms. Let's say once form is implemented by using form core component, and we have done some customizations and we have deployed that into the production, that form is available to the end user. Let's say I'm the end user, I have entered all my details and click on submit. So that data we have to store somewhere. One way is by storing that into the AEM server, but that is not recommended because AEM is a content management system. The main purpose of the CMS is for content generation and content rendering, and it should not use for the user information storage. But some cases we can store if you have the very less data. We can store it, but not recommended. But AEM Forms support to store this information into the external databases or external REST services or external web services or SOAP services or external blob storages like Azure or AWS S3. So even in that storage also we can store this information on submission. Form data integration is one of the powerful feature to store the user information in the form of tabular or document format. And document generation. So in one of the onboarding process with my insurance company, once I enter the data, so they have to generate one document. They have to generate the document by inserting my information into the document, and they have to place a digital signature to add my digital signature to fulfill that entire onboarding process without manual interaction. So this document generation also easy with the AEM Forms. The DOR is one of the default feature in AEM Forms. By using the DOR, we can generate these forms, or by using the backend system also, we can automatically generate this document and send to the end user by using email. Of course, email integration is required to send the document to the particular end user. And e-signature means digital signatures. Digital signatures are also one of the features in AEM Forms. We can include this digital signature into the PDF forms or adaptive forms or HTML forms. And AEM Forms can be used to store the forms and documents. And it provides the powerful workflow management to automate some of the features, either approval steps or to automate some of the tasks, or to process the data for the automation purpose. We can use this automation. It is similar to AEM workflows. In the AEM workflows also will have the multiple step component. We'll simply drag and drop the step components, and then we can sync that workflows to use in our real time. Similarly, here also we'll have the multiple out-of-box step component which is related to forms. We can use those step component to build these workflows, and some cases we can automate or customize these workflows. I will cover this customization as well as part of the training. And analytics and reporting. So we can easily integrate with Adobe Analytics. If we go to tools and cloud services, and there is an option called Adobe Analytics. So by using the Adobe Analytics, we can connect your AEM server with the data collection. Data collection are also called launch. So the launch will be useful to launch, or data collection will be useful to collect the data from AEM server, and then it will push the data into the different reporting platforms like Adobe Analytics and Google Analytics. So they are some of the reporting platforms. It will push the data. I will cover how to integrate AEM Forms with analytics, and how to implement data layer to collect the data either from the forms or from the user logged in information, and how to push the data into the data collection, from the data collection to reporting tools. And these forms are useful to use in different channels. Channel for the marketing purpose also we can use mobile, web, and email and print. So these are different channels we can use these forms, and we can build these forms on different purposes based on the channel requirement. Accessibility and compliance. So accessibility for the blind people, let's say there is a blind people if they want to use the website. So we have to implement this accessibility, or also called web content accessibility guidelines pack. Even this farm's core component by default support this feature. So we don't need to make any customization here until if there is a customized component. If there is a customized component, of course, we have to implement this web content accessibility guideline. Otherwise, if you use core component by default, this feature would be available. And based on the country, so we have to follow some GDPR, data compliance, and we have to collect the data. Some of the countries doesn't support to collect particular type of data, and we have to follow the GDPR. So even it will support GDPR rules we can define, and we can show and hide the data based on the country. And customer communication management. So it will be useful to communicate to the customers on submission based on the requirement. We can trigger the emails, or we can integrate with SMS APIs to inform to the customer. So transaction report also one of the feature with the Adobe Analytics. We can track the entire submissions and print related history. We can track by using this feature. So this is high level diagram about these features. And these are some of the possible integration with AEM Forms. Document sign, Adobe Sign. Adobe Sign is one of the external feature from Adobe. So we can use it for the digital signature. Adobe Analytics also one more product from Adobe for user journey tracking purpose. So how many users are landed in a form, how many users are submitted, and how many users are left without submitting, or 50% of the form entered the data and left the form. That entire information we can track by using Adobe Analytics. And Adobe Campaign for this campaigning purpose, email campaigning and notification campaigning, we can use this campaign management. And Adobe Target to serve the personalized content to the end user. Adobe Target also one of the product from Adobe. It will be useful to serve the personalized content based on the data, based on the end user data. It may be end user data or geolocation of the user. Let's say some cases we have to display some different content for the US people and different content for the Indian people. The farm is same, but content farm and URL also same, but content will be different based on the location. Let's say there is a festival in India. I have to show the different content only for the Indian people. So that personalized content we can implement by using this Adobe Target. So it is easy to integrate our target with Adobe AEM Forms. So even we can integrate with the CRM, customer relationship management like Salesforce. You can easily integrate with AEM Forms with Salesforce or any CRM platform, and ERP platforms also we can easily integrate. Even with external databases also we can easily integrate to post the data, and web services also we can easily integrate. So these are the different possible integration with AEM Forms. So I will try to cover at least Adobe Sign, Adobe Analytics, Adobe Campaign, Adobe Target. So we have an account for Campaign and Target as well. So I will try to show you how to integrate the data and how to integrate form with Target and Campaign Analytics and Adobe Sign. CRM, maybe it is not possible. If we have the sufficient time, I will try to cover at least Salesforce integration. And database, of course, anyhow, we are going to integrate with the local databases. And rest also I will cover. We have one REST services, and we'll try to post the data into the REST services. So these are the different integrations of Adobe AEM Forms. The same diagram here. Data sources to store the data, REST or SOAP or OData or relational databases. So they are the different type of data sources to store the user information. And these are the authentication related services, OAuth services, and SAML authentication or basic authentication or token based authentication. So these are the possible authentication related integrations. Yeah, Adobe Sign is one more integration, Adobe Analytics is one more integration, but these integrations are not required for the beginners. But if you already having knowledge in sites and have already having knowledge in basic forms, then I will cover all these concepts. So any questions in this integration part or features of forms? Yes, workbench also will cover. Any questions? Okay, so these are the different type of forms are available in AEM forms, PDF forms. These PDF forms we can generate by using forms designer or also called lifecycle designer. In the lifecycle designer or forms designer, forms designer, lifecycle designer or forms designer, we can use to generate these PDF forms. So while generating PDF form, even we can write some customized script also for the validation purpose or to post the data into the services. We can write some of the JavaScript. So that is possible with this PDF forms. The main purpose of this PDF form is for the offline submission. Let's say you are the end user. So from my services, one PDF document is sent to you. So you can fill this entire document and click on submit. So that document data will be posted to the data sources. Based on the requirement, the data source may be a REST or SOAP or any external data sources. We can post into the different data sources. So PDF forms also one of the popular forms to collect the offline data. And HTML form and adaptive forms both are similar only. But adaptive forms is more recommended to implement some complex form implementations. Let's say if you have the 3 or 4 or 5 step of component or forms. In the step 1, some of the fields would be available. Once you enter and click on next, and in the step 2, some of the fields we have to enter. It may be fields or documents or signs. And if you have the multi-step forms, then go with this adaptive forms, otherwise HTML forms. So this is high-level creation submission diagram. So we'll be part of the internal team. So there are different internal teams are available. One of the team is form authors. It is similar to content authoring team. It is similar to content authoring team. So here the form authors will create the forms. So will be the part of the forms developer. Will be part of the form developer. So our role is to create customized fields and customized validation rules. Because the authors are non-technical people, so they can't write any script for the custom validations. They can't write any custom validation. They can simply use the existing form component to build the form. If any customizations are required, either in the validation side or any custom field is required, form developers will involve for the customization purpose. So once the form developers are implemented custom field or custom validation rules, so those are used by this form author to create the forms. Inside AEM form, these are the different services, published services, and workflows, and DO or document of record, and automated form conversion services and author services. So they are the services. Once you build the form and activate it to the public server, the end user can access this form by using any devices, either desktop or mobile or tab. Any devices, either by using desktop or mobile or tab, can access it. And then when you access a form by using these devices, that form, adaptive form will be served to the end user. Served to the end user. That end user fill the data and click on submit button. Either we can store that information to the AEM server or in external services. Based on the requirement, this backend system like AEM publish server generate the PDF document and return back to the end user. But this is not the case for every time. Based on the requirement, it would generate the PDF documents. PDF document. In the PDF document, if required, they will include the Adobe sign as well for the digital signature. But not recommended to store that data into the AEM sites, as I already informed or discussed. So we have to store this data into the external systems, external databases or cloud services. So here we have to store that information. Okay, so that's all about today's demonstration. Let me know if you have any questions in forms, POC, or basic features, or prerequisites. Any questions?